Swimming in the open water is different to swimming in the pool. Okay, that's kind of stating the obvious, but the question is, should your stroke be any different in the open water?
Well, yes, there are certain aspects of your stroke that will require a little bit more attention and maybe a slight amount of adaptation. And guess what? We've got them all covered.
Before we start, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to GTN to get all of our videos. So first up, the one that's going to have the most significant effect on your open water swimming efficiency, cadence. That is the rate that you move your arms whilst you're swimming. Now, if you watch the 800 meter or the 1500 meter in the pool, you'll notice that the swimmers have a slow, lengthy stroke rate. If you watch open water swimmers or even pro triathletes, you'll notice they have a much faster stroke rate. And there's a good reason for this. When you're in the open water, there's a much less controlled environment. In the pool with the lane ropes, the water is a lot stiller and calmer. But even in the calmest day, like here, out in the open water, you're going to get some water movement. And this decreases your stroke efficiency. In the open water, having a faster stroke rate will mean you can overcome those differences and slight imperfections in the water. And as the waves get bigger and your arm may get knocked, or you may even get knocked by another swimmer, having a faster stroke rate will mean you'll lose less of your momentum than if you had a slower stroke rate and you lost a whole stroke. Now, it's one thing to know in principle what you're supposed to do, it's another thing to actually put it into action. So you can practice some drills to do this, such as single arm or water polo drill in the pool so that you get used to it before you get out there in the open water.
You don't have the black line to follow, so you're going to have to look up and sight from seeing buoys or other landmarks. And this comes with practice, but you want to be able to lift your head high enough so you can see them clearly, but not too high that you're actually slowing yourself down and you're taking in a lot of effort. So I'd say you basically obviously need to have your eyes out the water, but really nothing more than your mouth. But even if your mouth is out the water, do not confuse that with timing it with breathing. It's a completely separate action, and how you time it is up to you. I personally like to take my breath just before sighting, so I fill my lungs and then I can turn my head straight to the sight. Other people prefer to sight, then put their head back down, then take their breath. So it is something that's worth experimenting with, and it's actually something you can do in the open water, but you can also practice in the swimming pool.
This next tip actually involves less effort. I know it sounds too good to be true, but in the open water, you actually want to kick less than you do in the pool. One caveat, if you have a very slow kick already, you don't want to completely do away with your kick. You do need to do some kicking. In the open water, you'll probably be in a wetsuit or in salt water, or both, and so your body position will already be better than it is in the pool. So reducing your kick, saving that energy, and keeping the same body position is a no-brainer. Of course, you're also pairing this with our previous point of increasing your arm cadence, and those two together mean you can be just as efficient with almost no kick.
Having the ability to breathe on both the left and the right can be really helpful when it comes to open water. In fact, in some circumstances, it can even be a bit of a game changer. Imagine you're doing a swim race in the sea and the course goes parallel to the coast, say going from right to left, and you breathe on your right-hand side. Well, you're going to have waves and chop coming on that right-hand side, and you're constantly going to be battling with the spray of that as you try and take your breath. If you could simply turn your head and breathe the other way, well, your life would be easier. And I'm aware it's easy for me to stand here and say, yeah, just learn to breathe on both sides. And it isn't always that easy, because we do usually have slightly uneven strokes and you become easy to get into a habit. So try and break your stroke right back down. And single arm is a really good way to practice breathing on the other side. I'd suggest popping some fins on for that, as the added propulsion will help when you've slowed your stroke down.
This next one is less required and more something you may notice the top open water swimmers doing, and that is using a straighter arm recovery. A straighter arm recovery obviously means that as you bring your arm through, your fingers are not going to catch the chop or the waves that are next to you, and you're not going to have a disrupted stroke as easily. But of course, changing your stroke and changing your pattern of your stroke can slow you down. So it is something you want to practice and get used to if you are going to try it in the open water.
Being able to accelerate mid-race can be really useful when it comes to open water. In a pool, you tend to just be racing the clock or the fellow swimmers in other lanes, but due to the draft legal rules in swimming, actually being able to change your pace and get onto the feet of another swimmer can be really helpful. So imagine you see a faster swimmer just come past you, or you see a group swimming at a similar pace just ahead. If you can find that extra power and acceleration to get onto those feet, it could dramatically change your race and either make your effort much easier or help you get to a quicker time. So the best way to go about that is just practice swimming bursts within your open water training. And this is going to break up the monotony of it, as well as just helping with this new technique. So try to maybe give yourself markers on the course to say swim hard between this buoy and that buoy. You can also obviously practice this in the pool as well.
Well, let us know how you get on practicing all these open water technique tips. And remember, you don't actually have to come to the open water to practice these. All of these tips can actually be practiced in the pool, so no excuse when you go for your next open water swim.
Yeah, good luck. Hopefully these skills translate.